So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News in Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time. Now, first of all, I want to wish all of you a very happy new year. Let's make sure that this year 2026 brings all the success as far as your UPSC endeavor is concerned. And let this serve as a reminder that you need to really work hard to achieve this dream of yours. Okay, so let this new year be a reminder that you need to work more, okay, towards this goal of yours. So make this a New Year's resolution of sorts, okay? Now, as far as this lecture is concerned, like all the other current affairs lectures, well, I say this every time, so I'm going to repeat it again. Revise this lecture just after watching it. Revise it from the notes provided by us on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section just below this video. All right, then, let's begin today's session. First, let's take a look at the list of topics that we shall cover today. So let's begin. So daily current affairs, 2nd of January, Friday, and here is the topics list. 1st January and 2nd January were not that heavy when it comes to current affairs. The newspapers that came in these 2 days were not that heavy with respect to UPSC current affairs. So we have shortlisted 3 topics which are of significance and we will cover these 3 topics. Number 1 on this list is Bulgaria joins Eurozone. And now Bulgaria's official currency will be euro, not its national currency. So what is Eurozone? What are its dynamics? What is its qualification criteria? We'll cover this. Then topic number 2 is related to decline in banking correspondents. Banking correspondents are crucial in providing last mile connectivity to banks in rural areas or remote areas. Now, declining number of banking correspondents is very bad news for the financial inclusion dreams of India. So we'll talk about this. And then we'll talk about impact of CBAM, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, on India. The CBAM was launched by EU and this would impact India's exports to EU. Kind of a tariff on India by European Union. So we'll talk about this. So these are the 3 news items that we shall zero in our attention on. So let's start discussing them one by one, starting with topic number 1, and that is Bulgaria joins Eurozone. Now, you all must have known, you all must have studied this, or you all must have some information on this, that many countries in Europe, which are part of European Union, have euro as their official currency. France, Germany have one currency that's called euro. But there are some countries within European Union that still follow their own national currency. So some countries of European Union follow euro, some countries of European Union follow their own national currency. So what is the difference between these two things? All of them are members of European Union, then why do some countries have euro and why do some countries have different national currencies? Well, that's because the countries that have euro are part of Eurozone. Now, Eurozone is kind of a subcategory of European Union. Recently, Bulgaria, part of European Union, has decided to join Eurozone area. Okay? Now, what is this Eurozone area? What are the key requirements or qualification criteria for a country to join Eurozone area? And what are the benefits that accrue because of joining or adopting euro? We will talk about all these things. Okay? So let's focus on Eurozone. Let's begin. So Bulgaria joins Eurozone. Okay, so what was in the news? So Bulgaria became the 21st Eurozone member on January 1st, 2026, retiring its lev currency. So its first national currency was lev. Now it has decided to adopt euro. Now all of this was done in Bulgaria amidst political instability and pro-Russian opposition. The opposition parties are pro-Russia, whereas the ruling party is pro-Western Europe or Europe. Okay, so this is the political context of this entire development. But we will focus on Eurozone. So what is Eurozone? Okay, pay close attention on this. So Eurozone consists of 21 EU countries using the euro as their currency. Okay, because they have single currency, so we say that these countries clubbed together form a monetary union. They are already an economic union. Okay, they have free trade. There is a free trade agreement. They are a single market, but they have also formed a monetary union. Monetary union means every country within this union has single currency. They have similar monetary policy. Core, serving as the economic and monetary union core for price stability and integration. Now let's take a look at the map of this Eurozone area. So the country in blue are European Union countries that are part of Eurozone also. So it's Spain, France, Germany, Portugal, Italy, and now Bulgaria. In 2023, Croatia also joined. Okay. Then white countries are those countries which are not part of European Union, but are members of Eurozone. Okay. So, well, this is Eurozone. Just remember this fact. You don't have to remember all 21 countries. Just remember the latest entrant is Bulgaria, and total number of Eurozone members are 21. Okay. Let's gather some more information about Eurozone. The Maastricht Treaty 1992, which formed European Union, created EU and paved economic and monetary union stages. So basically, Maastricht Treaty formed European Union, and it also gave the 3 stages that every country has to follow before it adopts the single currency called euro or becomes part of Eurozone area. Okay. First, well, you have to allow free movement of goods, services, and capital within the Eurozone area. Free movement, no restrictions, free movement of capital. Then convergence, you have to follow certain rules like inflation should be put down and many other conditions. That is known as convergence. And then the final stage is you adopt euro. Okay, so there are 3 stages, remember. First, allow free movement of capital within Eurozone area, free investments. Okay, like it is one country. Then number 2, qualification criteria. Number 3 stage is final adoption of euro. Okay. So 21 EU members form the Eurozone, 6 EU states, okay, these are those countries which are part of European Union but have not joined Eurozone. That means they still retain their own national currencies. These are Denmark, Poland, Sweden, Czechia, Hungary, basically Czech Republic and Romania. Now, because they have single currency, therefore their monetary policy is also aligned. Therefore, they require a common bank. Like for rupees, there is RBI. Similarly, for euro is European Central Bank, which is headquartered at Frankfurt, which manages monetary policy via a governing council, 6 executive board, 21 national governors. Governors of central banks of each of these countries, governors of RBIs in each of these countries. Okay, so this is the thing. Now, what is the qualification criteria? You remember convergence. So what every country must do to qualify as Eurozone member. So price stability, inflation should be below 1.5%. Then sound finances, fiscal deficit should be less than 3% of GDP. Debt should be less than 60% of the GDP. Then exchange rate stability should be there. Plus you have to keep your interest rates below 2%. Okay, these are the conditions. And annually, European Central Bank publishes reports which checks whether each and every Eurozone member is following this or not. So there are annual compliance reports as well. Now, why has Bulgaria or all these 21 member countries, they decided to join a single monetary union, single currency? Surely there are some benefits that are accruing to them. What are those benefits? Well, the benefits are membership enables price comparison. Okay, so similar prices, basically price comparison, because there is a single currency. So a pen in France and a pen in Germany would be, the price of both would be measured in euro. So there is better price comparison, okay, which will boost export competitiveness. Germany can reduce the price of the pen and export more. Easier cross-border trade, easier labor movement, because all laborers would get their salaries in euro only. Easier investment movement, lower interest rates. Bulgaria gains tourism boost, because now free movement of people would be there, so more European tourists would come to Bulgaria. Euro as the second largest reserve currency, full EU integration symbol. So you have integrated with the European Union fully by joining Eurozone. It eliminates exchange costs and enhances financial stability, because within Eurozone area, there is no exchange of currencies required. No, exchange rate measurement is required. So that reduces costs of international trade, because there is one single currency. So these are the benefits. All right. And that would be all. Clear? So let's finish this topic over here and quickly move on to second news item, and that is decline in banking correspondents. Now, you see, Indian Central Bank, that is the Reserve Bank of India, has this one goal. This one goal is also shared by Government of India, and that is financial inclusion. Now, what do you mean by financial inclusion? Financial inclusion means that every Indian should have access to basic banking services, right? This is financial inclusion. Now, giving access of basic banking service to everyone in India is really difficult. Why? Because people who live in remote, far-flung rural areas, well, for them, getting access to banking services is really difficult. Why? Because bank branches are not in their vicinity. And without these bank branches, why would they avail banking services, right? Now, when you tell banks to open branches in remote, far-flung areas, well, it becomes economically unviable for them to open bank branches everywhere. It's difficult for them. So government or RBI found a way out. Well, there would be individuals called banking correspondents. Okay, these individuals would contact with respective banks. They would make contact with respective banks. So for example, I want to be a banking correspondent. What would I do? I would contact SBI and say that please give me the license of your banking correspondent. Okay. Now, once I become SBI's banking correspondent, now I can open an outlet in my remote area. Okay. So SBI doesn't have to open a bank branch in my remote area. I will contact SBI, take license from them, and will become their official banking correspondent and will open my own outlet in my own place. Okay. Now over there, I will provide basic banking services like opening account, depositing some money up to a certain limit, withdrawing some money. Basic banking services would be provided through my outlet. Okay. So I am a third party which is providing banking services for SBI to my remote area. Okay. Basic banking services, not all. For all, you need to contact the bank branch. Okay. Now, this model helped in providing access to basic banking services to remote, far-flung areas as well. It enhanced financial inclusion. Get the basic idea now? Now, the thing is, recently, banking correspondents or their outlets have been declining. Now, why are they declining? What would be the consequences of that? Let's talk about this. Okay. So, decline in banking correspondents. So what was in the news? So BC outlets declined to 13.1 lakh from 15.47 lakhs within 1 year, impacting financial inclusion. This contraction, mostly in villages over 2,000 population, stems from low commission. So yes, I'm a banking correspondent of SBI. What would be my benefit in opening my own outlet? Well, for every transaction, for every basic services I provide to these people living in remote areas on behalf of SBI, I would charge some commission from SBI. Okay. Now, the reason why many people have closed down their outlets, BC outlets, well, the reasons are that first of all, the commissions are not enough. Well, my expenses have risen, rent, IT infrastructure, all these expenses have risen, but my commissions have not risen. So it has become economically unviable for a banking correspondent also. That is why they are closing down their outlets. Okay. Amid rising costs like connectivity and cybersecurity, RBI is currently reviewing the banking correspondent model and Kisan credit card scheme. And as per the data of RBI, this news came out. Now, what is important for us? To know what this BC model is. What is the model? So this is the model. So BCs in India are third-party agents appointed by banks to deliver basic financial services in remote, unbanked or underbanked areas, extending the reach of formal banking without physical branches. So you don't need to open physical branches, which could be costly for banks. Now, this scheme was introduced by RBI in 2006. The model leverages local entities. Local NGOs can be BCs, self-help groups can be BCs, microfinance institutions can be BCs, and even individuals, shopkeepers can be BCs. BCs act as bank agents in unbanked areas, offering deposit, withdrawal, account updates, pension, DBT via sub-agents at non-branch locations. So I can even hire my own sub-agents, okay, to go to every house. Now, every BC is linked to the base branch of SBI, okay. So this is the thing. This is the entire model in brief. Now, what has led to the decline in number of BC outlets? Okay. First of all, lower number of transactions. So lower number of commissions. Low transaction linked commissions fail to cover fixed costs. Like if I'm opening an outlet in an area, rent should be covered, biometrics should be covered, cash handling should be covered, cyber security safeguards of my computer infrastructure should be covered. These costs have risen, but my commissions have not risen. So it is financially unviable for me, right? High expenses rose without commission hikes. Experts blame policy gaps, tech instability, and no institutional support from the banks to BCs also. BCs are on their own. Plus, sparse rural volume squeeze margins. Already the commissions are low, plus the volume of transactions are also low. Okay, so if I'm earning 1 rupee on every 10 transactions, and if the transactions are 1 lakh, then I'm earning money. But if the transactions are 10 only, then I'm just earning 1 rupee. That is unviable for me, right? BCs actually grew from 5 lakhs to 15 lakhs and then fell sharply. Now, what are going to be the disadvantages of this fall in BC outlets? Well, financial inclusion is going to suffer, right? It threatens DBT ecosystem because most of the subsidies are now provided directly into your bank account. But for that, you need a bank account. Okay, this direct crediting of subsidies into your bank account is DBT. Now, basic banking services are not available to people, but DBT ecosystem would suffer. Widen rural distress, hampers financial inclusion for weaker section, reduces access to Kisan credit card. Kisan credit card, if you need Kisan credit card, you also require basic banking services, pensions, and then without financial inclusion, there would be more inequality. Rural people would again rely on money lenders who charge exorbitant interest rates, and that would further accentuate inequality. Okay, so this is the problem, right? And that would be all as far as this topic is concerned. And now let's quickly shift our focus to next news item, and that is impact of CBAM on India. Okay, now what is CBAM? Basically, it is a measure launched by European Union. What is European Union saying? Listen to me very carefully, okay? If you just give me your 100% attention for 2 minutes, you'll understand the background, the context of this news. What is CBAM? CBAM is Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism. What is this? Let's suppose there is a company in Europe which manufactures steel. Now, Europe is very strict when it comes to climate change. Therefore, Europe has told that European factory to follow strict measures to reduce carbon emissions. Now, because of following those strict measures, the cost of manufacturing steel has risen because they have to take care of so many rules and regulations in Europe. So the cost of manufacturing steel has risen. So the steel manufactured by the European manufacturer the price has also risen. So European manufacturers are selling steel at a higher price. Yes, but in India, the rules are not that strict. Therefore, an Indian manufacturer can produce steel at a lower cost, lower price. Yes, and it's not just India. Most of the developing countries can produce steel at lower cost, lower price because the environmental regulations are not that strict as they are in Europe. Now, what is happening? European steel is expensive. Indian steel is cheap. Therefore, many Europeans who are demanding steel are buying from India. This has benefited India. Indian steel exports, aluminium exports have risen. But that rise has come because, well, European manufacturers are not able to sell steel and aluminium. Why? Because of strict regulations, their prices have increased. So India became more attractive because of these European regulations, right? Now, Europe thought that we are fighting against climate change and we are economically suffering because of this. Okay, so what did Europe do? Europe said that the reason why India is able to sell cheap steel is because, well, India is manufacturing steel by emitting a lot of carbon dioxide because regulations in India are not that strict. But European steel is expensive. So whenever someone is importing steel from India, we will apply tariffs. We will apply tax on that. That tax can be called carbon tax. After applying that tax, the price of steel from India would be at par with European manufacturers and there would be fair competition. Yes, This is known as the carbon tax or carbon border adjustment mechanism. Now, India calls this discriminatory, but Europe calls it necessary for fighting climate change. This CBAM tariffs are called carbon tax. Okay. Now, the CBAM starts from 1st January 2026. It has already started. And that is why an article was there in the Indian Express newspaper. So we'll talk about this. Okay. But I hope you got the gist of the background. You understood the matter, right? Now let's talk about this. So impact of CBAM on India. So EU's carbon border adjustment mechanism launched on 1st January 2026, targeting high emission goods like steel and aluminium from countries with lax norms, okay, non-strict norms. Now, to keep its price low after tax, India has to reduce its price by 15 to 22%. So Indian exporters would be suffering because of this. Plus MSMEs would suffer the most. Okay. Now, about CBAM. So it levies charges on embedded emissions in imports matching EU ETS costs, because European manufacturers have to abide by emissions trading scheme of European Union, which makes their steel and aluminium expensive. So to bring them at par, to bring Indian manufacturers at par with EU ETS manufacturers, well, this is done. Preventing carbon leakage where firms relocate to low regulation areas. In fact, what was happening was European manufacturers were shifting their factories to India so that they can manufacture cheap steel and sell it to Europe. So this was hurting Europe economically. So this is the purpose. Now it would be launched, first would be transition phase and then full phase. Okay. Cover cement, iron, steel, aluminium, fertilizer, electricity, hydrogen, and in future it would be expanded to other areas as well. India's key EU exports, okay, would be taxed higher. Now, there is a proper mechanism for taxing steel and aluminium. European Union says that there are 3 technologies for manufacturing steel and aluminium. Okay, number 1 is blast furnace basic oxygen furnace technology. This emits a lot of carbon. So, any steel manufactured by this technique would be taxed the highest. But if Indian manufacturer uses DRI technology, well, in DRI technology, emissions are a little lower. So your tax would also be a little lower. And if Indian manufacturers use EAF technology, which is mostly used by EU and US producers, well, then carbon tax on you would be very low. Okay. Now, most Indian manufacturers use this technology. That means the carbon tax on them would be the highest. Now, Indian exporters are demanding Indian government to give them subsidies so that they can quickly shift to EAF technology and basically reduce carbon tax on them. Okay, but let's see what happens. Okay, now, criticism of this policy. All countries of the world, developing countries of the world, are criticizing European Union for this. First of all, they say this violates WTO. CBAM allegedly violates WTO rules like GATT, non-discrimination clause. In General Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, non-discrimination, and Subsidies and Countervailing Measure Agreement, SCM agreement, we'll talk about this sometime later. WTO agreements say that you cannot discriminate against domestic manufacturers and foreign manufacturers, but this is being done. Plus, you cannot discriminate between one country and another country, but that is also being done because countries that have strict carbon emission rules are not taxed, India is taxed. So this is a violation of WTO. Then experts have pointed out, especially UNCTAD has pointed out, that Europe is saying that this would save climate, but it would have minimum impact on climate change, this measure. And well, in climate change diplomacy or international agreements, there is this principle called CBDR, Common but Differentiated Responsibilities, which says that most of the carbon emitted so far after Industrial Revolution has been emitted by Europe. So the burden of fighting against climate change now also lies more on Europe. But through this CBAM, basically Europe is shifting that burden on developing countries. So it is a violation of this principle CBDR. Okay, and it is being challenged in WTO also. So these are the key criticisms. All right. Now, what impact will it have on India? Well, steel and aluminium exports would suffer. MSMEs would suffer because they lack data on how much carbon they are emitting. So they would be taxed at the highest rate. If no industry provides any data on their carbon emissions, they would receive the highest carbon tax. So MSMEs would suffer. Global trade representative projects that India would have to reduce its steel price or aluminium price to stay competitive. Plus, a similar measure is being applied by UK, and USA has already applied tariffs on India. So Indian exporters, well, they have very bad news and very bad days coming in front of them. Okay. And that would be all. With that, we conclude today's session. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation. But it would add more value if you're consistent and regular with this lecture series and you revise this lecture from the notes provided by us on our Telegram channel. So with the hope that you're going to do that, I shall take your leave with the promise of seeing you again with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.